to Incoming. This is the video podcast that takes a look back at the week's historical miniature releases. This is episode 38, which looks back at the new releases for week ending the 12th of March 2010, and I'm your host, Neil Shook. Well, it has to be said, a fairly sparse week for historical miniature releases this week. I do have a top 10 for you, but some of them are not the greatest in the world, it has to be said. And certainly that can be said of this week's number 10. First of a couple of releases we'll see this week from Relic Miniatures. Relic are producing 28mm figures and they're producing some character figures. Here we see Hannibal as some sort of almost caricatured Carthaginian general who appears to be riding a cataphracт donkey. Nothing to be said about this. It looks quite bizarre, doesn't it? Yeah, I really don't know what to make of this. Very strange figure, completely ill proportioned by the look of things. Definitely on a horse which is just horrendous. Not great. Number 9, and we have a couple of new releases from Raiden Miniatures. Now Raiden are probably most well known for their aircraft. Here we see a couple of new releases for their 1/285th scale. We have a Junkers 88, complete with some torpedoes. And also, for the Korean War range, we have a MiG-15. Both really nice sculpts, these. I've got a couple of Raiden's miniatures, and they are really impressive stuff. So I'd recommend that if you're into aircraft gaming, that you take a look at these. Number 8, and it's back to Relic Miniatures, this time with a Punic War Elephant. A 17-piece Carthaginian war elephant, who appears to be a relative of Dumbo. We've seen a lot of war elephants in recent months, especially those from the likes of Aventine and First Corps, both of which I think are far superior to this one. So it's putting a figure into a market that's already seen several new releases. Yeah, not the best. Sorry, doesn't really do a lot for me, this one. Number 7, a new release from Magister Militum, following on from their 10mm releases of British infantry for the Napoleonic Peninsula campaign. Here we now have some Hanoverians, or they can also serve as King's German Legion. And I think my comments from what I said about the Brits goes similarly with these. Considering their scale, they do look slightly strange. I think they have the anatomy of kind of the heroic scale 28mm figure, despite the fact they're only 10mm. I think that's potentially the problem. They look okay, but they're very stylised. It depends really if you go for that sort of thing or not. Whilst they're nice enough, they don't really do a fantastic amount for me. Number 6, and the first couple of new releases this week from Gripping Beast. Now these are some new figures for their World War I range. Now Gripping Beast have been producing some figures centred around Gallipoli and the fight with the Turks. And here we see a couple of packs of French. Fantastic selection of figures, really nice sculpts, well worth checking out these from Gripping Beast. Something very different. I've not really seen anything really like this before, especially with the mix of standard and native troops. And staying with Gripping Beast, as we go to number 5, these are other packs that have been released this week, and these are their Anzac Command. So we have 4 Australian officers for World War I. Great figures, very typical officer poses, well sculpted. I think they really capture the character, especially capped officer in full uniform with his arms folded. That's my personal favourite in these. Number 4, and the first of a couple of new releases from Warlord. Now we've seen over the last couple of weeks several of their Fallschirmjäger, and here we have another one. The last of their weapon teams to be released actually. This is an 81mm mortar team. More of the same, I think, from their bolt action range. A great weapons team, dynamic, a good vignette to put on your table. As I said before, I'm a big fan of their power troops, and these are more great stuff. Number 3, and potentially a bit of a cheat, as we've seen a teaser of these models already. And these are actually painted 3-ups of Gripping Beast's new plastic Vikings, which are due to be released at Salute in April. I think you'll agree, if the 28mm figures come out anything like these, they will be superb. Really interesting to see a company like Gripping Beast actually getting into plastics. They're so well known for their Dark Age range. I know we've seen Vikings from Wargames Factory before. Now we see a company that is well established in the Dark Age genre getting their own back, if you like. These are excellent figures. Very much looking forward to seeing these when they eventually come out. Number 2, and it's back to 15mm and Legio Heroica. Now, Legio Heroica have just released a new set of mounted crossbowmen for their feudal and Swiss range, and I think you'll agree. These are fantastic stuff. I always like these figures. Every time I see them, I'm really bowled over by them. They are very striking. Again, a little bit stylised, I suppose, and the horses aren't necessarily the best in the world, but all that said, I think they're a fantastic range of miniatures. I'm very tempted to get a set of these at some point. Our gaming group is heavily into 15mm. It's not a scale I do very often, but these can definitely tempt me. And so to my number 1, and it's back to Warlord, and their latest release are their box set of Dragoons. And what they've done here is something actually quite unusual, in the fact that they produced a box set of 12 mounted Dragoons, but also the box set includes 12 dismounted Dragoons as well. First of all, we see examples of the mounted Dragoons, including a very nice looking drummer, and then you see the same Dragoons on foot, and these are all packaged together in the same box set, which I think is a fantastic idea. We've just seen it happen with the French Dragoons from the Paris, but again, by this time Dragoons are very much mounted infantry, and so it's really good to see Warlord taking full advantage of that and producing a single box set as opposed to having 2 box sets, one with mounted troops, one with dismounted troops. Their pike and shot range simply goes from strength to strength. So there you have it. I think you'll agree. A very mixed bag this week. Some really nice stuff, but some not so great stuff either. In, as I said, a week that was very sparse actually on releases. Still, I hope you've seen something that you like amongst my selection. There are several miniatures here that I'm very much looking forward to seeing. All that remains to be said is thank you to Bill at the Miniatures page, Zach at Tabletop Gaming News. Without these guys' hard work on their websites, this podcast simply wouldn't be possible. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Happy gaming. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.